What's going on, everyone? So last week I did my top 10 favorite movies, and then this comment kind of gave me the inspiration to do the top 10 dumbest movies that I've ever watched. So, I mean, why not? So yeah, that's what today's video is going to be about. Top 10 dumbest movies that I have personally seen. Woohoo! So before I start off this list, I just want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is absolutely no one because I'm not famous. Alright, so coming in at number 10 is Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. Now the first Paul Blart was funny, it was original, it was everything that we know and love about Kevin James. And then they did Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. And everything that I fear that would make a sequel bad made this sequel bad. You know, they tried to do too much with what was already a very basic story, and this movie just kind of fails. It falls very flat from the first one, and it feels, the whole movie kind of feels forced, and there's no real humor in this one. So I did not enjoy the sequel. I love the first movie, very funny. You know, I enjoy it, but the second one, just a big no. So if you haven't seen it, avoid it.
I'm gonna fly on my own 2 feet from a cool mile high.
Oh, hey! Sorry?
I'm gonna fly on my own 2 feet.
Coming in at number 9 is a movie that I have a lot of friends who disagree with me, but it's fine. Again, these are just my opinions. Birds of Prey. For me, Suicide Squad was okay. It wasn't the best movie. It also wasn't the worst movie. It was kind of an in-betweener. And then I saw Birds of Prey. Me being a fan of the comics, went to go watch the movie. I was severely disappointed by this movie. The fact that the fight scenes were boring was the first thing that got me. The second thing that got me was they went so off the comic book with most of the characters that it just felt like, okay, what the hell am I watching? Is this an after school special? And the third thing is, DC's movies have not been as good as Marvel's movies. Let's just be honest, right? And I kind of have the feeling that the guys at the studio were like, you know what, we need something that could compete with Deadpool. So let's try to make a Deadpool with Harley Quinn. And it didn't work. Some of the jokes were a bit funny. I mean, I did chuckle at a couple of them, but the movie just isn't good. I didn't enjoy the movie. I feel that the movie is, it could have been so much better, you know, but they released it as is and I didn't like it. So it has to be on the top 10 dumbest movies that I've seen.
Hi, boys. Meeting's over.
Coming in at number 8 is a movie called Dark Tide, and this movie stars Halle Berry, and it is shot in South Africa. Some shark movies are cool, you know. I've known to enjoy a couple, but this movie is just bad. Even Halle Berry's acting in this movie was not good, and she's a good actress. But, you know, the whole movie kind of just feels amateur. It feels like, you know, they had a couple of bucks to make a movie, and somebody somewhere had a favor from Halle Berry that they cashed in to get her to be in this movie. And then they tried to make a movie which just wasn't good. It's really a bad movie. It's really badly done. Most of the acting is horrible, and it feels like you're wasting your time when you watch this movie. So yeah, it's pretty dumb.
Bring him back.
How big do you think he is?
About 3 meters.
Do you sing this?
Yeah, I got him. Come on, boy.
Big, man. She's big. Look at her mouth.
Coming in at number 7, The Punisher Warzone. So I'm a big fan of Punisher. I love the comic books. I love everything about Punisher. And the Punisher movie with Tom Jane was good. I'm not gonna lie, that was not a bad Punisher. The Punisher series with John Bernthal was amazing. That guy was he was the perfect Punisher. But the Punisher Warzone, Ray Stevenson's acting is amazing. I'm not gonna deny that. This guy is a good actor, and his acting in Punisher was good. It wasn't bad. What kind of made the story fall flat was the story. You know, the way that the story kind of just plays out. It wasn't good. And, you know, after watching the first Punisher with Tom Jane going into this one, it was just a giant letdown. It wasn't good. It wasn't, it didn't grab you like the first movie did. You know, it didn't make you feel like, I want to watch the ending. I want to know what happens. It's kind of one of those movies when it's done, it's like, okay, I've seen a movie, but it didn't really make an impact. So I didn't enjoy this version of Punisher. I didn't think that, you know, they did a good job on this film, and I actually wish I didn't watch it because it just wasn't that good. Coming in at number 6 is Daredevil with Ben Affleck. Now, Ben Affleck was a great Batman. He wasn't Christian Bale great, but he was good. He was a good Batman. I enjoyed his Batman performance. The reason why I didn't like Daredevil is it was a little too zany for me. You know, Daredevil, I know some of the characters in Daredevil are very charismatic, let's say, but this one kind of just felt toonish. It didn't feel like, you know, it was Daredevil worthy. Ben Affleck's performance as Daredevil was, you know, up and down. It was, in some scenes he was quite good, in some scenes he was quite bad. So when it comes to Ben Affleck's Daredevil movie, I just couldn't get into it, and it just failed for me. It wasn't really good. So I did not enjoy the Daredevil movie, and it's probably something I'll never watch again. Coming in at number 5 is a movie called Loaded, starring Jesse Metcalfe. And the one word that I could use to describe this movie is cliched. Every single cliche with a white American rich kid, you know, falling in with a bad crowd. This movie has every single one of those cliches. And just the acting in general was horrible. There was no good acting in this movie from anyone. And I just felt like, you know, somebody had the idea for this movie and it could have been a good idea, but then they hit it with cliche after cliche, and it spiraled out of control and became a movie that we now know is Loaded. And, you know, after watching this, I was like, oh, okay. I had no idea that cliche movies were still a thing, but clearly they are. So, you know, it's bad. If you haven't seen it, skip it. You are not missing out at all.
You can do anything you want as long as you put your mind to it.
Coming in at number 4 is Lake Placid versus Anaconda. Now, the first Lake Placid movie was meh. You know, it was okay. The first Anaconda movie was meh. You know, it was okay. And then both franchises just kind of derailed. You know, it spiraled out of control into something so shitty that, you know, I couldn't believe they made more movies. And this movie kind of felt to me like, you know, two guys, the two guys that worked on the movies were sitting at a bar having a drink one night, and this guy goes, you know what? I produce a really shitty franchise. And the other guy went, you know what? I produce a really shitty franchise too. Why not combine the two and see what we can come up with? Just more shit. So, you know, I watched this movie and everything about this movie is bad. The writing, the directing, the acting, the editing. Oh, don't get me started on the editing. You know what? You'll see on the clip. It's just, it's bad. It's so bad. It's lame. So it had to make the list.
Except that.
She's here!
That is one big ass snake.
That's my girl!
Coming in at number 3 is a movie with Bruce Willis called Precious Cargo. Now, the other guy that stars in this movie, you guys will know him from Franklin and Bash. Franklin and Bash, good series though. But anyway, I watched this movie because, you know, I like Bruce Willis's most of his movies. And I thought, okay, the guy from Franklin and Bash goes for an action film. This movie feels like a drama with action elements in it. And it's just bad. I mean, the acting from Bruce Willis sucked. And Bruce Willis is good. And even his acting wasn't good enough to save this movie. The whole movie kind of just feels like it's headed nowhere. And at the end of the movie, that's still how it feels. So, you know, it's a bad movie. It's badly written. And it's just not worth it to watch. So, you know, I had to put this on the list because it was a big letdown. I didn't enjoy this movie.
Thanks.
Logan. Logan. Logan.
Aquí sí
Logan.
tengo plomo.
Logan. 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 ¡Puta madre! ¡Mátalo!
Coming in at number 2 is Catwoman. Again, Halle Berry's on the list. Why I didn't enjoy this movie is everything about this movie. It was tacky. It kind of just felt like somebody went, you know what, if we put a very good looking actress in this movie to play Catwoman, people will watch it. No. The movie was, for me, it was amateur hour. It felt, yeah, even though it wasn't too low budget, it felt low budget. And it was just one of those movies where, you know, at the end of the day, when you finish watching it, you're like, really? Famous people were in this? You know, it's bad. It wasn't good. I didn't enjoy the movie. And I feel like I wasted my time watching it. So it had to make the list. Coming in at number 1 is a movie called Playing with Dolls. And It's supposed to be a horror. It's directed by a guy called Rene Perez. And I saw the poster of this movie, and actually the cover of this movie, and I thought, okay, it kind of looks like, a Friday the 13th type of vibe that they're trying to go for, guy in a mask. I watched it, and boy, is this stupid. I mean, literally everything about it. The soundtrack is so dumb. The music sucks. The writing feels like somebody gave a 10-year-old a laptop and said, listen, what do you think is scary? And also the reason why I think it was written by a 10-year-old. In every single Rene Perez movie, there's a topless chick running around. For no apparent reason, she's topless. And that's the only reason, is to get boobs in the movie. It's that simple. So the scariest part about this movie is that there's 4 of them. How they got funding for these movies, I wouldn't know. How they get funding for remakes, I wouldn't know. But everything about these movies are horrible. The acting, they feel like they just graduated college and they really need the money. And that's why they get these parts. That these people can't act. That's the first thing. The second thing is the way that these stories go. They're boring, especially the 4th one called Cry Havoc is boring. It's not horror. Oh, and the violence, when the killer chops somebody's arm off or cuts their stomach open, it is so badly done that, I watched it and I started laughing. It feels like it was on purpose, with it being so horrible, because it feels like they took those mannequins that they put in shops and sprayed it full of blood and started hacking it. That's how badly this is done. The innards from the people look like they went to a butcher shop and said, "Give me all your sausage," and they just pulled sausage from the. It's very, very badly done. If you've never seen a Rene Perez movie, I would suggest watching one if you really want a good laugh, because this is so bad you end up laughing your ass off at how badly it's done. It's really bad. That's what I'm gonna say. It's really, really bad. It's a shame that these movies ever were made, and I feel sorry for the people watching it, because it's pure torture. Life's too short, but do something else with your time. Seriously, hug your kids. Kiss your grandma, visit that uncle you don't like. Just do anything but watch a Rene Perez movie. It's bad.
The man I'm after uses his vast wealth to watch women die.
So anyway, guys, that's my top 10 dumbest movies that I've ever watched. If you guys have seen any of these and you agree with me, let me know. If you've seen any of these and you disagree with me, let me know. These are just my personal opinions. You guys don't have to feel the same way. It's just something that I thought would be fun to do. Since I did my top 10 favorite, I can do my top 10 dumbest, So yeah, there you guys go. That's a little bit more about me and the type of stuff I like to watch and not like to watch. And I'll leave the names of all my social media platforms on the screen for you guys, so that you guys can go follow that. And I'll see you guys again next week. Peace.